What's going on, educators? Welcome back to Educators County. In this episode, we're focusing on young-minded students that make veteran-minded decisions, growing up faster than others and maturing in stressful conditions. This one's called Adult Kids in Class. Ready, set, go. It's the end of the school day, but you have one more event to handle before heading home. Aguilera, one of your brightest 7th graders, is waiting in the conference room with her siblings and her mother for a teacher-parent conference. You arranged a meeting because Aguilera is an extremely hardworking, gifted student, but her attendance is atrocious. She only attends school 2 or 3 days a week. You make it to the conference room, but the translator who is scheduled to be there had to drop out in the last hour, literally. No worries. Aguilera is bilingual, and you've always been confident in her honesty, although you don't know the truth of why she's chronically absent. While Aguilera translates, the mother looks at you from time to time and smiles. During the conference, Aguilera's 2-year-old sister runs amok around the conference table while the 8-month-old baby brother frantically crawls after his toddler sister. Aguilera multitasks as she keeps her toddler sister in line and preps items to change her baby brother's diaper. Even in the middle of translating the conversation between you and her mother, you can tell Aguilera asked her mother where her brother's bottle is located. You know enough Spanish to understand the bottle was left at home. Switching gears, 2 days ago you had a totally different parent-teacher meeting. Moniqua's mother requested this meeting because she is tired of another student bullying her baby in your class. This happened last year at the other school and nobody did a thing about it. Fortunately, as a teacher, you know exactly what's going on, and this should be an easy explanation. The mother goes on to say her shift at the local factory starts soon and she can't afford to take time off. She's a single mother, her salary is just above minimum wage, and she needs every penny to support her daughter. Meticulous Moniqua has long, expensive braids, a trendy Lakers jersey, fashionable ripped jeans, a clean pair of red and white Jordans, and an iPhone 10 that sparkles. It's known that Moniqua uses her mother's bank account to pay the phone bill in order to maintain unlimited social media access. At the beginning of the school year, you were stunned when Moniqua attempted to pay the locker fee using Apple Pay. Finally, a child nutrition worker learned that Moniqua regularly transfers money from her mother's bank account to her school meal account so she can buy a la carte versus receiving free and reduced meals in the main line. Based on the title of the episode and the 2 scenarios you just heard, it's obvious both students are making adult decisions. Regarding Aguilera's scenario, when you're a middle school student caring for your siblings, ensuring they're fed, supplies are readily available, and translating adult conversations, making adult decisions are daily norms. Add to that, you learn Aguilera's mother works as a maid at a hotel 5 days per week. Her father works construction 6 days per week using their only van. After learning of their work schedule, one vehicle, and watching Aguilera multitask, you realize why she's consistently absent. She's at home, raising her siblings. When she's at school, she's an adult kid in your class. As for Moniqua, a time ago you would kid around with her about her growing up to be a businesswoman, a banker, stockbroker. Now you realize she's a lot more grown up than what you originally perceived based on the levels of responsibility her mother has entrusted in her. Again, an adult kid in your class. Here's where the challenges with adult kids start. First, you have no idea who the adult kids are in your classes, if any. Next, regarding Aguilera's situation, you believe student absences are unacceptable and her absences far exceed county policy. Now that you know more of her story, do you still hold your attendance belief with a tight grip? Or did a little bit of your grip slip after you learned why she's absent? You grew up in a culture where attendance was valued differently. Even so, you're wondering, how can a family not make every effort to ensure their child gets to school every day? After all, a family's children are that family's future, right? Well, isn't that the same belief Aguilera's family has? Meaning, a child is growing in adult responsibility, By caring for their siblings, they're helping their family function while others provide financially. And all these efforts reinforce the family's belief that these children are the family's future, right? Regarding Moniqua, she is accustomed to the power of making adult financial decisions for herself and her mother. Additionally, you know the child she is not getting along with is not bullying her. Many kids react harshly towards her because she bluntly tells them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what she expects, and she speaks loudly. Lastly, she's accustomed to having small financial power and using it to obtain things she feels will make her stand out from her peers. That's what she's been taught, what she's practiced, and she knows nothing different. When your students make adult decisions in your classroom that you did not agree with, what were some of your reactions? When you reflect on your students that are McKinney-Vento, what thoughts have crossed your mind regarding the type, quantity, and severity of adult decisions they are forced to make? While you ponder on those questions, here are 3 simple starting points for recognizing, analyzing, and guiding the adult kids. Number 1, identify who your adult kids are. Listen to how they talk, what they say, what their levels of responsibilities are, and how they interact with each other. I hope your numbers are small, say 0, 1, or 2 out of the entire semester. Labeling the majority of your students as adult kids or taking one sample and applying it to the masses is not accurate, not true, and it does no good. Be realistic. Better yet, be truthful to yourself. Number 2, which ones are introverts and which ones are extroverts? To figure this out, go back to our first 2 scenarios. Picture Aguilera and Moniqua. Who would most likely be the introvert, extrovert, or would both be one or the other? There is no right or wrong answer. If you selected Aguilera as most likely to be the introvert and Moniqua as most likely the extrovert, then I would say we're on the same path of assumption. Now, determine who's who for the adult kids in your class. Number 3, what appropriate levels of responsibility can you assign them that will feed maturing knowledge to their adult-like tendencies? As an extrovert, are they eager to be a class leader or take class attendance? As an introvert, do they feel good about being a team member on the school's flag detail team? In softball or baseball, are they the catcher, which is the true team leader on the field? As an introvert, are they extremely comfortable as vice president of student government? As an extrovert, are they eagerly campaigning to be the SG president? How about debate team, chess club, or battle of the books? When you split the class into groups, are the adult kids teaching their peers? That's a lot to take in. So to refresh your thoughts, here is one example of how I came to identify an adult kid and how both of us learned in our conversation. As an administrator in a middle school, one of my male students was back in my office for something that possibly warranted suspension. Yet, after working with this kid for a year and knowing his heart, I will truly say he is a good kid. He was previously kicked out of his home and is now living with his grandmother. His grandmother is known as a tough, old-school, regimented woman who doesn't take crap from anyone. He says sometimes it's tough living with her, but he emphasized that if he was not there, then no one would be there to care for her. That's when tears said hello to his eyes. I asked what he does to care for her. He explained how she is elderly, uses a walker, and sometimes she goes to the Senior Citizen Center if her body is up to it. If her body is not up to the challenge, then she stays home by herself, sometimes just resting in bed. He sometimes prepares her meals, but mainly prepares his own food. He helps her with so much that he doesn't know how she would make it if he wasn't there. This middle school African-American 10%er with a tear rolling down his cheek expressed multiple ways of how he gives love to his grandmother. I took advantage of the situation by letting him know the care he is doing could be related to employment in assisted living, nursing, occupational therapist, caregiver, hospitality industry, and college degrees he could achieve in the future. To my surprise, he responded letting me know he wants a degree in psychology. Nice. His mind opened up more after learning he could major in psychology and minor in something similar with what he is currently doing now for his grandmother. Fellow educators, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you discovered valuable meaning from this episode. Speaking of meaning, it's time for takeaways. Here we go. Number 1, identify the adult kids. There are probably only a few, but you must identify and know them. Number 2, introversion or extroversion. Be certain of their personality traits. Number 3, assign them responsibility. Based on them being introvert or extrovert, if possible, strategically assign them to a level of responsibility that will complement, tame, and help grow their adult kid tendencies. That's all for now. Thanks for growing with me, and we'll see you next time in Educators County.